Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second session of Datawithbill Live featuring Bill Su. And today we have Patrick Han, who is a business development officer at Humanlytics and also a business development specialist at Azavia, which is a tech company in Philadelphia. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about Patrick's experiences with networking and business development. And he also have a lot of good suggestions on in regards to what kind of tool should you use for your business development ventures, and some just general theories and recommendations of business development. So before we start today, I'd like to give a shout out to our sponsor, Humanlytics. Uh, at Humanlytics, we create AI-based tools that makes data analytics, in particular Google Analytics, easier for small and medium-sized businesses. We'll create tools that interact infographics that helps you directly go from data to insight without having to go through the laborsome analytic processes. And learn more about us at humanlytics.co or reach out to me because I assume most of your VFA fellows, so just reach out to me at bill@humanlytics.co. Thank you guys so much. And now let's go to Patrick. Patrick, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me, Bill.
Yeah, so
as Bill said,
why don't we start with introducing a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So, as you probably know, my name is Patrick. I'm a 2016 VFA fellow. I'm currently a product specialist for Azavia, specifically for the Cicero and data analytics team. Azavia specializes in geospatial applications and analysis, so basically mapping and mapping apps. And it's basically my job to grow both the Cicero product and the data analytics service as a business. And so my official position is called product specialist, but mostly that means business development. So yeah, I think that sums it up.
And your role is also Chief Development Officer at Humanlytics, right? So you're responsible for promoting products for Humanlytics and reach out to our sponsors and partners and current clients to get more clients for us, right?
Yeah, exactly. Definitely wearing two hats tonight.
Awesome. So let's just start with like a very basic question. So what is networking? Can you just give us like a brief overview of what do you think networking is and why is it important?
Sure. Quick disclaimer, I'm by no means an expert in business development or networking, but kind of want to just share what I've learned in the past 7 months, some best practices that I've picked up and some tools. So starting with what networking is, I think it's helpful to actually think about what networking is not. I think most people don't like networking because they have negative connotations around the word. They think it's transactional, it's using people. Maybe the image that pops into your head is this guy at the conference who is just trying to collect as many business cards as possible so that they can, I don't know, use you later when you become useful to them. But actually, that's not what networking is, and that's at least not what networking should be. And I think one framework that's been helpful to me is Aristotle's 3 kinds of friendship. So if you want to go to the next slide. Basically, the 3 types are the friendships of utility, friendships of pleasure, and friendships of virtue. Friendships of utility are friends that you have because they're useful to you. Friendships of pleasure are friends that you have because you enjoy their company. Friendships of virtue are friends that you have because they make you a better person. And one thing that's interesting about friendships of virtue is that they also have utility and pleasure, meaning with these friends, they are useful to you because they make you a better person, and you enjoy their company as well. So the reason this is helpful to me is that a friend of virtue, a virtuous friend, can make you a better person, but you don't have to necessarily think of it in transactional terms, right? I think that's definitely a helpful framework to think about. And why should we care about networking? I think one book I've been reading recently is called Top 5 Regrets of Dying, and one of the regrets that people have on their deathbed is actually they wish that they had stayed in touch with their friends. And so for me, at least, this is definitely a motivation that I have to basically keep in touch with my friends, build and maintain my relationships, because I know at the end of my life, those relationships are what I'm going to be thinking about and valuing the most. So, more practical terms, 85% of jobs are filled via networking. So clearly, it really is important for you to network to find a job. But anyway, let's go to what networking is. I think, in a sentence, it's about finding ways to help the people in your life. And I'm mostly drawing from a book called Never Eat Alone by Keith Ferrazzi. It's a great read. I highly recommend it. And I'll just briefly go over the three takeaways from the book that I thought were really helpful. The first is that relationships aren't like cake, they're like muscles. What do I mean by that? Basically, we often think of relationships as bank accounts that we draw from and we can use them up, and we don't want to bother people because we'll use up our social capital. But actually, relationships are like muscles. The more you use them, the stronger they get, and they grow each time you exercise them. So the first thing, the most important thing is to never ask, what can this person do for me? The most important thing is to ask, what can I do for the people in my life? I think a lot of people think, I'm just starting out in my career. I'm a young 20-something. I don't have a lot to offer. But actually, the most common thing that you can help people with is making introductions for them and bringing people together. In my experience, a lot of projects and relationships have developed because of introductions. And I think that's something that all of us can offer even early in our career. And I think this quote sums it up pretty well. The secret to life is to find a way to do more for others than anyone else is doing. So I kind of just fly through this. I think you guys have probably heard this before, the Ben Franklin effect. But this is kind of counterintuitive because we think that, if we ask people for things, we think they'll like us less. But actually, studies have shown that when people do favors for us, they actually like us more. I'll just leave it at that. It's definitely, don't be afraid to ask for help when you need help, because people will get more invested in you the more they help you. The second principle is that breadth is helpful, and what I mean is that weak ties are very important. I think, in our early 20s, our intuition is, we should really just focus on our closest friends, and obviously that's important. But actually, early in our career, the people in our network, the people in our closest circles are probably like us. They're probably early in their career. They're probably, have entry-level positions at organizations. And so it's really important to branch out and to really focus on people who are not in your inner circle, to people that you barely know, because it's usually those people that will help you find a job, people who will help you, and if you're doing business development, it's important to have very deep and close friendships, but also to not neglect your weak ties. Okay, I'm just going to fly through this. I think I'll just go to the third point, which is that depth is really important. And what I mean by that is it's how you spend time with people that's important, not how much time. I think we all have friends who bond by having deep conversations. They just love to talk about, different issues in your life. But I think others really bond by doing things together, like whether that's, playing sports together or going on a hike together. And I think it's really important to know, if you're trying to get close to someone, what kind of person they are. Because, if they're the kind of person who really bond with people by doing things together, and all you set up with them are like coffee dates and you just talk to them all the time, they're not going to feel particularly close to you. So I think the most important guiding principle here, at least for me, is to not focus so much on yourself and to focus on the other person. And I think this quote really sums it up pretty well. I won't read the whole thing. The gist of it is that if you really are present with the person, focusing completely on their needs, desires, concerns, then spontaneously you'll talk in a way that meets the needs of your audience, and you'll make you less nervous. You'll be less fearful or stressed about building relationships. And I think that's the single most important thing that's helped me I think naturally I'm a pretty awkward person, but pretty early on I just learned to embrace it and to not focus so much on what other people think of me and just focus on how can I help other people.
Okay, sounds good. So
as cheesy as that sounds,
yeah,
really works.
So Patrick, I guess the question is after all these principles, I guess can you just give us some examples of how do you employ these principles in your daily life with like some real life examples, how you build relationship with people and how you like accumulate your network personally?
Yeah, personal examples. I think with those deep relationships, I think one thing that's been helpful for me is to do either weekly calls or weekly meals. I think meals are great because you have to eat, they have to eat, so it's not like any added time. You have to eat, so you might as well do it with someone. So just getting to the habit of scheduling meals with people every week. At the beginning of the week, on Monday, I just schedule all my meals for the week. And I think that's a very low effort way to just make sure there's a lot of relationship building in your life. And secondly, I think when you go to events, well, first of all, go to events to meet people. But secondly, when you do go to events, just get into the habit of meeting people, getting their contact information, finding them on Facebook or LinkedIn so that you can reach them again. And I think, for example, at VFA training camp, a lot of the people around me wanted to ask questions like, well, that's not really a great question, so I'm not going to go up. Sometimes I would go up to the person who gave the talk, even if I didn't have a question, because I just wanted to talk to them. And a question would come as I'm walking up to the person. So I think just getting the habit of meeting people, asking them questions, is really important.
I see. So let's navigate a little bit from personal networking to more like a business network, because I understand a large portion of your work is actually help Humanlytics and Xavier develop new customers, and so that a lot of them involve in going to conferences. So when I was going to, one part of the reason why I'm inviting Patrick to this is I went to a conference in Florida in March, and beforehand, Patrick gave me a lot of very good suggestions on how to network with people in conferences and how to essentially get the most of your conference experiences. Because for fellow who are working out there, that companies spend probably like thousands of dollars for you to go to one conference. So using that efficiently is definitely will help your company a lot in terms of business development, everything else. So take it away, Patrick. What is your tip for people who are out there listening about going to conferences, and what are the most effective way of doing so?
Sure. Yeah, I think conferences, there's a lot of tips I can give. I think one thing is to really prioritize meeting people and getting their contact information over the panels and presentations that happen at conferences. I think those talks are great, especially at starting conversations, right? Like I think, you go to a conference, you listen to a talk about your subject matter expertise, and of course, it's good professional development, but I think the real value is that those talks start a conversation with the people around you, right? You're all, struggling with the same issues and challenges, and I would really prioritize meeting people, even at the expense of going to talks. That sometimes I would go to these conferences and only go to maybe like a quarter of the talks, and the rest of the time I would be just scheduling coffee, just conversations with people. And second thing I would say is, I think follow-up is the most important thing. I think, sometimes we have a really good conversation, but if you don't follow up with them, then it really just comes to nothing. So actually, the workflow that I have is that I have this app called Scannable, and I can show you some screenshots later, but basically I scan their business card right after I talk to them, because I know I'm going to forget later. And it saves all their contact information onto my phone, but it also lets you email them automatically from the app. And it includes my contact information, my picture, so they remember who I am. And it just says, like, it was nice to meet you, here's my contact info. And I just do that immediately because I know, after 24 hours, it's just much less likely that I'll remember to do that. So I think that's the second tip I'll give. And then the last tip I'll give is just come to the conference with a clear strategy and clear call to action to everyone you talk to. I mean, you don't have to be so goal-oriented in every conversation, but it's helpful to have just a default call to action. For example, this past conference I went to in San Francisco, the call to action that I would had in the back of my mind was, do you want to just collaborate on a blog? And I thought that was a really good low commitment way to build partnerships with other organizations, because it's not trying to sell them anything. You're just building a relationship. You work with them a little bit, and it's low hanging fruit. It's mutually beneficial, and just to have something like that to fall back on when you run out of things to talk about.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much. I guess the last topic I want to cover is that. So personally, when I'm working with you, I'm always grateful by the amount of tools you have in your repository in terms of helping you to manage either email outreaches or your relationship and things like that. Can you just go over some tools for the fellow out there that might be valuable and helpful for them?
Sure. I'm not sure if you're showing the slides right now, but I'll start with some good tools for outreach. So the first one is LinkedIn and Email Hunter. So I think we all know about LinkedIn, but it's a very powerful tool for it's a very powerful search function. Oftentimes, for example, like maybe I want to investigate a certain sector or industry or vertical. Maybe I'm wondering, is environmental nonprofits a good vertical for our data analytics team to target? So I can go on LinkedIn using the advanced search and target by location, by past company, by industry, and that way I can see who's in my network that I can talk to ask them about the industry, right? And it's a really easy way to find the relevant people in the industry. And then I use Email Hunter. They actually recently rebranded just Hunter.io, which integrates with LinkedIn, as you can see in the screenshot. You can just check the people that you want to get contact information for, and then Hunter will actually find their emails in bulk, and you can save it into your Hunter account. And then you can, once you do that, you can export it into a CSV. And once you have it into a CSV, you can put it on Google Sheets, and there's a lot of different things you can do with it. Which takes me to the next tool that I want to talk about, which is Scannable. I mentioned this earlier, but it allows you to scan business cards. They'll take their email, their phone number, all their contact information, save it automatically onto your phone, and it also integrates with Evernote, which is a note-taking app that I use. So if you go through the screenshots, as you can see, you save it into your Evernote folder, and then you can copy and paste all the information, which is directly scanned, into a Google Sheet. So whether you're doing this with business cards or you just have a bunch of contacts from LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
That's the tool that I want to talk about tonight. Get another mail merge, which is a way to send mass emails.
Patrick, you got cut off a little bit. Can you just finish your thoughts on Scannable? Can you just finish your thoughts on Scannable?
Sorry, could you say it again?
Can you just finish your thoughts on Scannable? You got cut off at the very end of there.
Oh, so yeah, Scannable. Again, it's just a good way to get all your contact information into Evernote, and then from there you can copy and paste it into a Google Sheet or a CSV. Mm-hmm. So yeah, going to yet another mail merge. As you can see, sorry, if you want to go to the next slide. This is an example email that I could use with yet another mail merge. It's a tool that integrates with Gmail and Google Sheets. So basically, you write an email, and then you can personalize it based on the information on your contact spreadsheet, right? That you can put in their first name or their organization. So the email will read, "Hi, first name, this is blah, 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 blah." So it feels a lot more personalized, and it doesn't actually go into people's spam folders. So anyway, if you go to the next screen, this is what it looks like when you click Start Mail Merge. I've blacked out the people's contact info, but basically you write up the email in Gmail, then you find it here, and then you can send a mass email up to 50 people if you're using the free tier. If you pay for it, it's really cheap. You can send up to 1,500 emails a day. So this is just a good way to send mass personalized emails. Especially if you meet 100 people or 50 people at a conference, this is a good way to send a lot of emails at once. And the analytics are actually very good as well. As you can see, it tells you the open rate and the click rate in a campaign report that they email you. And then
and I guess another comment from, for yet another mail merge is that it's based on Google Sheets, right? So you don't need to have any more fancy tools. You literally just a Chrome plugin that you can literally just install at any time of the day without any technical assistance.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think I've tried a lot of different fancy tools, but I think Yet Another Mail Merge and Rebump have been the most cost-effective and easy to use and portable, lightweight solution I've found. So I like to use Yet Another Mail Merge and Rebump together. So going to Rebump, basically it's a way to send automated email follow-ups. You can use it with Yet Another Mail Merge. So you can see kind of what it looks like. You basically write the future automated response emails ahead of time. And again, you can personalize it. You can put their first name in it. You can link to things. And you can set how many days after your first email the automated response will be sent out if they don't respond. So in this case, if they don't respond to my email within 2 days, they'll send this first bump. And then if they don't respond again in 9 days, they'll send the second bump. And you can do this with X number of follow-up emails. I usually do 4 or 5. I found that the response rate is much higher with Rebump, after the 4th or 5th follow-up email, especially if in the last email you kind of write like a breakup email almost. You kind of say, well, clearly you're not interested in my service. I'll stop bothering you. And for some reason, a lot of people, they respond to that email. They're like, wait. I do want to learn more. I've just been really busy. And so it is a really useful tool because let's say you have 100 contacts from conference. You send a mass email through Get Another Mail Merge. You BCC the Rebump BCC email. And then that way, all those 100 emails will have automated follow-up in a very personalized and targeted way. And you can kind of just forget about it, and you can rest assured that nobody will fall through the cracks.
I see.
It is not free. It's a 30-day free trial, but it's about $5 a month, and I found that for my company, it's been really worth it, especially compared to how expensive other tools are.
Mm-hmm.
And then lastly, wanted to mention Boomerang, which is kind of a less feature-rich but easier to use version of Rebump. Basically, if I send an email and I want to make sure that I don't forget about it, if my person doesn't respond, I can use Boomerang so that if they don't respond within X number of days, Boomerang will resend that email. Boomerang will put that email at the top of my inbox after that many days. So I won't forget to follow up with that person if they don't respond. And Boomerang is free. Of course, there's a premium version as well, but it is the free version includes that feature. So I would say that's a good way to start.
I see.
And then go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say the very last tool I wanted to mention is Calendly, which is a great way to set up a lot of phone calls with a lot of people. Especially since in biz dev, a lot of the time the funnel or the call to action is to get them on a phone call, right? So at the end of your email, or even I include this in the footer of all my emails, you can give them your Calendly link. And if they click it, they can schedule a meeting with you that integrates with their Google Calendar. That way you avoid the kind of the back and forth of scheduling, what day works best for you, what these days work best for me. They can just schedule a meeting directly onto your calendar, and it is free as well. So you probably know some of these tools. I will say that the YAM Rebump stack is very powerful and relatively inexpensive, so it's a good way to start.
Okay, thank you very much, Patrick. That's really helpful. I'm pretty sure these tools will be of great value to the fellow out there watching if they're looking for business development or new tools in their toolbox in making their lives or sending emails easier. Because especially for Rebump and Boomerang, I definitely personally find the issue of following up, and sometimes I just don't remember doing it, and following up is so important in business development, getting a lot of businesses and getting a lot of replies from people. So I guess that concludes the formal agenda we have for today. Do you have any final words, final recommendations, and suggestions for networking for the fellows out there listening?
I think the main thing, and I'll just reiterate this again, is to really focus on the other person and what they need, and I think everything else kind of falls into place. I think there's a lot of techniques out there about how to, talk to people, how to sell things. I think if you really, really just focus on what the other person's needs are, you'll know what to say. You'll come off as very genuine and not salesy. The thing you want to avoid is giving the impression that you're just, you want something from them, you want to impose your will on them. And I think if you just start with the thought in the back of your head that I just value this person, everything else kind of just falls into place.
Okay, thank you so much, Patrick, for spending your time to share your insights with fellows today. And if there are any questions, please shoot your way. If we're going to wait for like around a minute. And if that's not the case, I'll conclude today's session. Looks like there is not. Okay, awesome. Yeah, thank you so much for anyone who's watching out there and those who are going to watch this on YouTube. I'll see you guys probably in 1 or 2 weeks for another session.